Afternoon, friends. Ash here, WAT News. I was watching Tori Says show, and I don't know. I think the whole enormity of everything that I've always looked into has hit me all at once. Kind of, when you try to step back and get a big picture, 30,000 foot view of like what really is going on in the world that we live in, right? And get down to all the lies that were told to us and all the secret programs that went on, and the thing that I don't know, the way what I think is in a nutshell was here's a group of people, right, that founded a country, and from its inception was, in a sense, it was taken over, right, by the Illuminati, and a constitution was written, which is an amazing document. But if you realize that at that time only landowners could vote, so it really wasn't. Was it a document for all the people? Were all the people represented in the country at that time that it was written? In other words, right? Or could the only people that really could vote were landowners? And that, by the way, was a system that wasn't just that went on here, right? Uh, if you went over to England and you owned a lot of land, you were in a much better position than if you didn't, right? So, my point being is not to say anything bad about the Constitution because it's a genius document. But let's go back to the story, what's really going on. And then these people through time, what really happened, right? We got sold out. One of the central banks came in and was then removed, right? And then fast forward a long time, and after World War II, we got sold out again, right? Because not only did our leaders sell us out to an alien presence, that alien presence then got to do horrific stuff to us. That never was dealt with. And it wasn't just Eisenhower who was talking to these people. It goes back to FDR too, when he had Tesla come in and, say, hey, Tesla said, hey man, I'm talking to aliens. You want to talk to them? And he said, yeah, I do. That started the whole thing as far as I could tell. And now, I'm not saying aliens didn't come way before. They probably did, and they were dealing with other leaders too historically. Well, my point is here's a group of people, right, that sold out their own kind to an alien race for information, and then allowed their own people to be kidnapped, taken off planet, traded as slaves, experimented on, used for their adrenochrome processing, force breeding stuff, and all kinds of other experimentation from these evil people, right? And we're worried about an election. We're worried about the election. I get it. I know the election's important, but you see my point. We're not we're not dealing with the elephant in the freaking room. The elephant in the room is the fact that we've been exploited since our inception on this planet, basically, as far as I could tell. We were created as slaves for somebody, and that's not being addressed, and it needs to be. And whoever was experimented on and whoever was done things were done to, that all needs to come out. And I think it will at some point. The extent of of which it will come out, I don't know. But the more research that I start doing, the more I start realizing is you're living in Star Wars, basically, and Star Trek. There is a dark fleet, there is a light fleet. That whole thing is real. The Nazis that went off planet are the dark fleet. They've got craft you've never seen before that would blow your mind if you saw it. So and then they're showing it to you, right? And so my whole point is, here's the monsters that we're living with. This is the monstrous stuff that we're trying to get rid of, right? It's not just that they were spying on you and listening into your phone calls. It's the fact that they were experimenting on you and using you as a piece of meat to do hybrid experiments, to do all kinds of stuff. And not only on adults were they doing this, but they're doing it on kids. So, that's the monstrosity we're dealing with. We could cover the news all day, but that's the news I want to get covered because I want that to come out. I want that information to all be out there in the open so that these poor people who have been horribly hurt and had to live in the darkness their whole lives can finally come into the light. And some people like that are, they are. And you can look into my lab's programs, and I'm going to do some digs on that. You could look into different programs that were around that were either run by CIA or independently by others that, it wasn't just Mark Ultra, it was other stuff too. A lot of other stuff. And I think when that stuff comes out, if they ever go into Fort Detrick and find out what they really were doing in there, it's going to blow everybody's mind. That's my take on it, guys. And so let's get into the news. I was watching Tori Says, like I said. So this caught my eye because I was just talking about CEFC, right? China Energy. And I was saying, like, what happened to China Energy? Somebody sucked the money out of that thing, right? And Gateway Pundit did an amazing article on this. Hunter Biden made money on China's energy and company CEFC on its way up and on its way down, by Joe Hoft. Great article. And here with a lot of information. Hunter Biden and the Biden family were happy to make money from the Chinese at CEFC on their way up and on their way down. And I didn't know this, but the CEFC, and you'll see in the article, he was brought up on charges, although he didn't serve a lot of time. Somebody at CEFC. You can't make this stuff up. The Bidens made money on Chinese company CEFC when it went up and when it went down. We've already reported how the Bidens were involved with CEFC and how they brought New York Governor Cuomo into the scene as well. So does this lead back to Cuomo now? We're going to have to see, right? I'm going to be keeping a close eye on that, trust me. I want to see Cuomo go down so bad. And there's plenty for him to go down on as far as I'm concerned. Hunter Biden, James Biden, former top DOJ leaders, and a China billionaire held a last-minute meeting in 2017 with New York Governor Cuomo. Why was that? Hunter and James Biden set up a last-minute meeting with top former DOJ members, a Chinese billionaire, and New York's Governor Cuomo. I'm just not sure how New York connects to it yet. Was CEFC going to do something with New York? I couldn't see that happening. I'll have to see how that plays out. Keep an eye on that for sure. We also reported that the entire Hunter Biden fiasco at CEFC was what Carter Page was blamed for doing while Hunter Biden did it. Carter Page was accused of doing with Russia exactly what Hunter Biden did. Isn't that funny? So here's the Vice Chairman and Secretary General of the CEFC. There he is with Greenspan. Here he is at the UN, talking with different people. He's at his sentencing in 2019. Today we can report that the Bidens made money off of CEFC after they were taken over and were on their way down as well. Hat tip Jakob Appelbaum. Could check that in a second. So they figured out what Hunter did with CEFC now. Here's Patrick Ho Chi Ping, the former Hong Kong Home Secretary who headed the Chinese conglomerate CEFC, was convicted and sentenced to 3 years in prison by a New York court in March 2019 for international money laundering. That's it? 3 years? Conspiracy and violations of the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act due to heavy political influence. Misspelled. Ho served less than 1/3 of his sentence before he was released. Ho was the Biden's main business partner. Alright, so we're going to have to dig Ho Chi Ping now. Patrick Ho Chi Ping. Patrick Ho, the Vice Chairman and Secretary General of the CEFC, was busted in New York for international money laundering, conspiracy, and violations of the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act. His partner Hunter signed up to be his lawyer. This is the part I wanted to include. Hunter's retainer was $1 million. Now, why would you do that? Hunter does not practice criminal law. He can't represent you as a criminal lawyer in this case. So was this done because you didn't want to help, so that Hunter wouldn't have to talk? You could claim attorney-client privilege? I'm thinking, yeah. And here's the letter, attorney engagement letter, identification of parties. This agreement is made between Robert Hunter Biden, Esquire, attorney, and Mr. Patrick Ho, the Deputy Chairman and Secretary General of China Energy Fund, client. Legal services to be provided. The legal services to be provided by attorney to client are as follows: counsel to matters related to U.S. law and advice pertaining to the hiring and legal analysis of any U.S. law firm. So he's saying he's like his advisor, kind of. I don't know if he's saying he's his actual lawyer, but counsel to matters related to U.S. law. So I'm not sure. I guess he's like a consigliere. But does that give him attorney-client privilege? We have to see, right? Responsibilities of attorney and client. Attorney will perform the legal services called for under this agreement, keep client informed of progress and development, and respond promptly to client's inquiries. Retainer will be $1 million, a retainer at the time of execution. That's a big retainer, man. Hunter, who's not a criminal attorney, ended up hiring another attorney named Edward Y. Kim Not surprisingly, Kim spent a decade as a federal prosecutor with the U.S. Department of Justice, DOJ, in the Southern District in New York. And we know all about that district. Has got some allegations, right? The outcome of all of this compilation of money and political influence was that out of his 3-year sentence, Ho ended up serving only a few months before he was released. So Monday, March 25th, Patrick Ho, former head of organization backed by Chinese energy conglomerate, sentenced to 3 years in prison. Wow, he got a really light sentence. So there's that. And we have to see like what kind of stock trades were done. Was any like options placed on these on this stock, and you know who profited the most, right? This is the Agents of Corruption, the illustrated primer. The Biden grifters and their enablers at the DOJ from China with love. Despite Joe Biden's endless denials on the MSM collusion to shield the family and enable him to continue to collect his beloved leader bonus, the evidence of the worst forms of public and personal corruption are irrefutable, despite what some fact-checkers on big tech and Soros pay claim. The digital evidence is concrete and actionable, and if we weren't in the process of transitioning to the legal system of a third world banana republic, the Biden clan and their enablers would have faced grand jury indictments long ago. To those who are interested in details, the following are a few samples that illustrate how the highest forms of DC political influence corruption works and how and why the perps dodged prosecution. To New York State Governor Cuomo, in a 2017 letter from Jim Biden, Hunter's uncle and Joe's brother, to New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, Biden asked to schedule an emergency drop-by. This request was triggered by a CEFC leadership visit to New York and their interest in scheduling a meeting to discuss investment opportunities in New York State. To those unfamiliar with the CEFC, it was Chinese version of the Madoff scam organization, but with a little twist of being linked to Chinese intelligence. Besides the Chinese attendees, the delegation also included Jim and Hunter Biden, a Luxembourg royal family member likely representing the bank where the money would be laundered, James Gilliar, and Rob Walker, the chairman and president of the UK-based Jc2R. Jc2R was Biden's legal and strategic government affairs partner and was staffed by former top officials from the US DOJ. If you were thinking that perhaps the acronym DOJ, as in former top-level DOJ officials as it appears in the Jc2R marketing material, refers to the Department of Jugging, it doesn't. It stands for U.S. Department of Justice, Jc2R. So what's this? Here's another layer. I never heard of this whole thing. Jc2R, legal, strategic, advisory, government affairs, and communications consulting firm focused on homeland security and transnational trade, offers high-level expertise in international business development and government affairs strategies. Jc2R, along with its partners, also provides clients with professional and hands-on public relations, lobbying, strategic consulting, crisis management, political intelligence, and management and advocacy services. Jc2R consists of top-level former U.S. Department of Homeland Security and Department of Justice officials. And it's in Washington, D.C. Jc2R. 19 employees, and it makes $3 million. So it's UK-based. Huh. Why is he... Wait a minute. That's weird. Why is it a UK-based? Huh. Now a second, guys. Let's check this out. There's a whole other layer here. Because now we got you connected back to... and this is what? Wayback Machine? Okay, maybe they changed their site. Washington, New York, London, About Us. Huh. Not much information here, huh? And it's the same thing we just read, right? Consists of top-level former U.S. Department of Homeland Security. So the main office is in Washington, but they seem to be global, right? Okay. So that's that, I guess, from the way back. There's Hunter. Attorney-client privilege, federal prosecutors for SDNY working to seize Rudy Giuliani's emails. I'll have to deep dig J2CR again. Sorry, I went ahead there. This has a lot of information. From Robert Hunter, Forward Cohen and CEFC China announced strategic partnership September the 17th, 2018. From James Gillar, this to Tony Bobolinsky. So here's Tony, right? This is the guy who came out against the Bidens and said they were taking the $5 million, right, and all that. So now we got that. Also Rob Walker, for FYI, James Gillar, J2CR.com, Law Enforcement, Counterterrorism, and Border Security Support Services. Here's Lazard. Cohen and CEFC China announced strategic partnership. Here's CEFC through its controlled subsidiary Shanghai Huaxin Group, Hong Kong Limited. China. Acquire CEFC China through its controlled subsidiary Shanghai Huaxin Group. Cohen Group, Inc. Okay. So they bought the Cohen Group. Meeting with CEFC. Attention, Annabelle Walsh, Director of Scheduling Office of the Governor. From James B. Biden. On April 5th, 6th, and 7th of 2017, CEFC will be in New York for a series of meetings regarding real estate and infrastructure investments in the United States. Pending availability, we request a brief meeting or drop-by the governor at a convenient location and time, either the 5th or 6th. We intend to discuss potential projects and investments in New York. Background: CEFC is a private collective enterprise with energy and financial services as its core business. The strategy of the company seeks to expand international economic cooperation in the energy sector and establish a well-organized international investment bank and an investment group. So here it is, you have an energy company, right, that's looking to, with energy and financial services as its core business, that wants to now move into your city, right, where you already have Con Edison and you have all the major banks already represented all over the world here. So for some reason they want to come in. A well-organized international investment bank and an investment group with revenue of 220 CNY, $35 billion US in 2014. So this is a massive company. They got all kinds of money. CEFC is among the 10 largest private companies in China. So these people bankrupted one of the top 10 largest private companies in the whole country, and credits most of these returns to oil and gas 60% and financial services 25%. But they also operate in a wide range of other sectors, such as transport, infrastructure, forestry, asset management, hotel management, warehousing services, real estate development, and logistics services. A large portion of CEFC's assets and successful investments are concentrated in overseas markets, driving the company to further its activities abroad. Since 2013, the company has been listed on the Fortune Global 500 list, rising from 342 in 2015 to 229 in June 2016. Most of the company is owned by Shanghai Energy Fund Investment Limited, CEFC, which is registered under Yi Jianming, the chairman of CEFC. Here's Yi again. He's back. See? Again. Here he is again. So this isn't turning into a big, big onion, man. This is a big, big onion right here. Document 2, the Biden spreading the honey in the Andrew Cuomo's investment meeting with CEFC to the care of His Excellency Sheikh Abdullah bin Mohammed Al Thani and another Biden for sale letter. Jim Biden informs Khaled Sultan Al Rabban, the Qatari director of the QIA, that Trump's foreign policy is failing, but that there is no need to worry because my family could open the doors at the highest levels and has lasted too many years and many administrations. In this capacity, the Bidens can circumvent, for a sizable fee of course, the administration's official foreign policy with notables like His Excellency the Qatari Emir. To put this letter in context, the Bidens' offer to act as an unregistered Qatari agent took place in July-August 2017. That may be another illegal act. One of the failed Trump foreign policy that Uncle Jim is alluding to is likely the Qatar diplomatic crisis, which was triggered by Qatar's state support for terrorism. August the 1st, 2017, Mr. Khaled Sultan Al Raban, in care of His Excellency Sheikh Abdullah bin Mohammed Al Thani. Qatar Investment. Dear Mr. Khaled Sultan Al Raban, thank you for the communication with my friend and associate Dr. Amar Rustam regarding the recent visit of His Excellency Sheikh Abdullah bin Mohammed Al Thani to the U.S. and his vision to promote the business interests of the nation of Qatar. So I don't want to read this whole thing. And if this is in keeping with the vision of His Excellency, our relationships are deep and wide and have lasted too many years in many administrations. We are now particularly close to this administration and have a different vision. The administration is beleaguered by major issues that are not soon to be resolved. In the meantime, we continue to forge ahead in forward-thinking endeavors that create real value both here in the U.S. and abroad. Our primary interest is and always has been to advance the interests of the United States through productive collaborations with partners home and abroad. This is with keeping with the vision of His Excellency. On behalf of the Biden family, I welcome your interest here. I recommend Dr. Rustam arrange a conference call to discuss the way moving forward and perhaps a face-to-face meeting in New York or Qatar with you and His Excellency. Best regards, James Biden. The Biden family selling influence to the Qatari government and blatantly violating the Logan Act. Rob Walker. So Rob Walker, I thought I covered something about Rob Walker already, is the president of Jc2R, a Bill Clinton administration official who is co-founder of the technology private equity firm Pilot Growth. His wife, Betsy Massey Walker, was Jill Biden's assistant when she was second lady. Wow. So this is turning into a whole nutshell, right? There's Tony Bobolinsky. There's Yi Jinming, chairman and founder of CEFC Energy. In 2016, Yi gifted Hunter a 3.16 carat diamond as part of their business relationship. In November of 2017, CEFC was accused of bribery in Africa by the DOJ. In 2018, CEFC went bankrupt and Yi was arrested in China. He hasn't been seen since. Hunter claims in a text that he has been executed. In 2018, a senior Chinese communist leader was accused of taking bribes from Yi. Now, Yi had a lot of money. A lot. And the question is, did the Chinese, did the CCP just say, let's get rid of him and take his cash because they don't want him to, what he knows to get out, right? About what really went down? We don't know that. Is he in a cell somewhere? We don't know. So we'll have to see how that plays out with Yi. Is Yi still alive? Is he dead? Did they steal his money? We don't know. There's the diamond. 3.16 carat. The diamond gifted to Hunter. There it is. It's a nice diamond. Diamonds are forever. One of the diamonds, a 3.61 carat, valued at $120,000. It says one of them. So there was more than one? Limited liability company agreement of Sinohawk Holdings LLC. This limited liability agreement, date as of May blank 2017, is made and entered into by and between Hudson West IV LLC, a Delaware limited here we go back to Delaware, which is probably a shell that he's hiding money in, and company Hudson and Oneida Holdings LLC, a Delaware limited liability company. Oneida and together with Hudson the members. All capitalized terms not otherwise defined herein shall have such meaning as is ascribed to them in Article 11 herein. I don't want the video to get too long, guys, so I'll just say here's more stuff. Whereas Sinohawk Holdings LLC was formed under the Delaware Limited Liability Company Act. So, on May 15, 2017, the formation date by the filing with the Secretary of State of Delaware. So they formed an LLC for this purpose. The Web of Deceit, the formation documents for Sinohawk Holdings LLC, one of the companies controlled by the Bidens for the purpose of selling influence. So my guess is that all of these shells that are set up like that we're seeing, right, with like Yang Enterprises and Yang LLC and then there's, all these different ones, These are just set up to hide the money that these people were, illicitly getting from their government connections, and then moving it through those shells and making it legitimate, clean money again, right? That's how you clean money. That's money laundering 101, right? You move the cash that's dirty into something that's clean. And then you write out checks over time against that business, right? Against that business name, and the money's clean. So that's money laundering like old school style, right? That's what they're doing, I think. Here is R. Hunter Biden. Dear Mr. Biden, from Yi Jinming. July 10th, 2017. Dear Mr. Hunter Biden, I am glad to hear from you. Time flies, and it has been months since we met in the U.S. It seems that we were always on a rush when we were together, thanks to your support to our cooperation. The consensus we made last time has been materialized in a timely manner. I am grateful that you introduced Mr. Bobolinsky to our partnership. I have a great impression on him through your letter, and he also sent me a letter to brief me on the situation. I believe he will bring significant impetus to our cooperation. With his abundant experience and outstanding capability, our cooperation in Oman and Romania has been productive, and I am aware of the status quo. You could arrange your people to coordinate with Director Zhang and Gang Wendong for specific work, and I will continue to pay attention and give my support. I have arranged Director Zhang and Gang Wendong to expedite the charter capital input to Sinohawk. I look forward to meeting you in the near future and discussing our joint undertaking. If there is anything I could do, please do not hesitate to write to me. Please accept my best regards to you and your family. Yours faithfully. Wow, so they got... This guy's a good... Applebaum's a great reporter, man. You got to give the guy credit. He goes way deep into the details. This is what all reporters should do. He's got the documents. He's got all the stuff. He shows the whole process. Monkey Island LNG... Hudson West, to Hudson West from Greg Michaels, CEO, Monkey Island LNG investment opportunity. Hudson West will make the most money by performing on the following. Hudson West will make an investment of $150 million in Monkey Island LNG in return for stock in the company, secured by the 246-acre premium project site. Monkey Island LNG will use $100 million to advance the project development to financial close. Monkey Island LNG will use the remaining $50 million to start trading LNG cargoes immediately. Hudson West will participate on a pro rata basis. So here's a whole other deal. I never heard of this one. Monkey Island. The $150 million investment will yield Hudson West a 30% stake in Monkey Island. Prior to other private equity firms making investors at this stage in U.S. LNG facilities. So this is a whole other deal. Excuse me. Your $150 million in just a few years could have a value of over $1 billion. Okay, very simple. $10 million per annum budget to use to further the interests of the JV. This move to $5 million is completely new to me and is not acceptable, obviously. All expenditures, expenses, salaries will be agreed to by board. Biden's expenses and determination of how Biden loan capital will be determined by Owasco in consultation with Hudson. So now we got Owasco, Hudson, Sinohawk, Li Jianming. Money's put into Sinohawk. That LLC formed. Was that going to be the mechanism? Was this like another Madoff scam? We don't know that yet. Were they trying to put this in to the United States and start to trade this thing? We'll have to see how it all plays out, but a lot of money seems to have got siphoned out. If this company was at one time one of the top 10 largest, right? We say 10 million, you say 5 million. The Bidens are the best. I know it doing exactly what the chairman, CEFC's Yi Jianming wants from this partnership. Please, let's not quibble over peanuts. So 5 and 10 million is just peanuts to these guys. They just want a $5 million or a $10 million introduction fee. So I'll let you go over this. I don't want to get too long. There's a lot of information in here, right? Just real quick, Pelosi calls the $600 COVID-19 payments to Americans significant. I mean, if you Tory was going into the pork that's in this bill, and it's just insane, right? They're giving hundreds of millions of dollars to, the Ukraine. They're giving money to Burma. They're giving money to all these other countries. And meanwhile, you're giving us $600 to these people. Some of these people have been waiting 4 months for this thing, 3 months for more money. They're starving out there. There's lines over a mile long for food in some states at the food banks, right? And you're telling me you're giving out $600 and you're calling it significant? Well, if it's significant, then give up your $20,000 freezer, right? Give up your vineyard that you own. Give up your multi-million-dollar house that you own. That's probably worth $6-7 million by now, right? And give it to the public, right? I think you're worth about $150 million, aren't you? So that's that. You can check that out. FDA authorizes Moderna's coronavirus. We already went into that. I would steer clear of that if you're smart. That's all I'll say on that. Analyst says redacted Dominion report shows very clearly problems with voting machines. Unredacted report demonstrates that races were flipped. Check that out off Just the News. That's 2 in a row, Just the News. 3 from Just the News. Here's another one, Just the News. Real quick. Cybersecurity agency where Trump fired boss was flagged repeatedly for poor performance. So there's Krebs again. There's a video here you could watch. I won't waste our time right now, but you can see there's a lot of problems with Dominion, right? Dominion used the SolarWinds too, and they took it off their website later. Dominion voting website scrubbed of reference to software group, right? Group allegedly hacked by Russia. Company says it did not use specific software program implicated in the breach. They got your picture of it though. The old, when they went to the Wayback Machine, it was there, so I don't know, they should have just showed that to him in the hearing when they were questioning him and said, isn't this your old site? Did you just change it up or not? Barr, no special counsel for Hunter Biden or election fraud. My guess on why that is because they probably they're doing something else already on Hunter. They got something on him. And the election fraud, I'm not sure about that angle yet with Barr. I'm not sure what Barr's doing anymore. I can't tell what his story is. We'll just leave him there. We'll see what he does, if anything. If anything comes out of Durham. And where's Durham? He still never came out. Where's Durham, right? This guy's taking a real long time. So we don't know. Does he have a lot to look at? Extra stuff? Or what's in the $900 billion deal? You can check this out. There's a lot of pork in this shit. Sorry. Excuse my French. I think it's a 5,000-page document if I read it correctly before. And they only had about less than 1 day to read it. So can you read 5,000 pages in a day? Probably not. That's filled with pork? Probably not, right? Let's see. Is there anything real bad? More help's on the way. Let's see what Cocaine Mitch said real quick.
On the way. This bill is a good bill.
What I'm excited about in this bill, and is really the democratic difference, is what it does for America's working families.
It is packed with targeted policies that help struggling Americans who've already waited entirely too long. We need to promptly finalize text, avoid any last-minute obstacles, and cooperate to move this legislation through both chambers.
Yeah, but why are you giving money to Burma, right? Why are you giving money to any other country right now? Shouldn't it just, like Tory's right, shouldn't it just be a 2-page bill, 1-page bill?
What's your take on what they are saying?
That just says, hey, you're going to give each American this amount of money, right? And why can't you make it $5,000? What is this small money, right? Give me back the taxes that you collected illegally from me my whole life. I want that money back. That's millions of dollars. I want the money that you used my name for, when you capitalized my name, right? And you issued 30-year bonds against my birth certificate number and my social security. I want that money back. I don't want some low-end $600 check. I want thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars back. Not this bullshit. And let me tell you one other thing. If you're homeless, how you getting this money? If you don't have an address, if you're living underneath a freaking highway overpass, are you getting 600 freaking bucks? Because let me tell you, Jack, those are the people that need it most, right? Do you got street teams going out giving $600 to all the people in your state, Nancy Pelosi, that are tent bound, that have no address to get that check sent to? I don't think so. Dominion voting website scrubbed of reference. We saw that. So with that, guys, I'll end it there. $600 is a pittance. It's a joke. And I think Trump, and you saw, just to end, that not only did Mitch get together with Schumer to try to make it that Trump can't veto this thing. So we'll see how Trump plays them out. You seeing Mitch totally turn now, right? He's huddled up with Chuck Schumer now. So enough said with that. So with that, guys, sorry for this long news, but there's a lot of news to report. With that, this is Ash signing off for now.